If you have been in the job market recently, you would have noticed these two things. The first one is typically the HRs ghosting you, right? They don't give proper feedback and they might not even reply after you're done with 3 rounds of interviews, and for the 4th round, if you're not selected beyond the 3rd round, they just stop picking up your calls. And this irritates a lot of people. But let me tell you the other side of the coin as well. You cannot blame the HR people, because in our industry, HR is considered to be the cost center. And what does it mean? Simply that HRs are not about bringing in revenues. They are only there to bring in people or do people management, which is considered to be cost to the company. So they don't even give enough resources to the HR. If they have to hire 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, imagine the number of people that they have to first go through for the resumes. How many of them will be then rejected by the technical manager? How many of them they have to conduct the interviews? Then finally, what happens if the candidate says no? And if they have a mandate of filling in at least 10 to 12 positions in a month, the HR is like sinking deep in work. So I just want to highlight in this video both the perspectives, what's happening from the company side and what's happening also from the candidate side, and highlight how we can effectively use AI a bit. Well, AI is the problem and AI is also the solution here. So how can we leverage AI so that we actively make this process much more efficient and also a pleasant experience, at least for everybody involved? And before we jump in, let me just give you a quick glance of how resumes are written these days, right, before we jumping into the AI topic. And there is a very popular joke among interviewers. I have gone through like hundreds of resumes, and this is one of the things that I've noticed. Every developer, every analyst, what do they write in their resume? I have developed this feature, and this feature has saved $10 million for the company, or this feature has brought in $10 million of revenues for the company. So cost savings, revenue savings, everything is happening just because of this feature that is written by the developer. If you add up like all the developers, all the analysts in the company itself, and just add all their resume impact or the revenue numbers, it will be much higher than the GDP of India itself. Forget about the revenues of that company. And this is the mistake that candidates make. But again, the fun part is it is being requested to add impact by every single company. So even if you write the impact, then they say that, hey, you are adding up the GDP of the entire country. And if you don't write the impact, then the problem is, why are you not even writing impact? Don't you know the impact of the work that you have done? So again, it's a double-edged sword, how you should deal with it. So let's jump in and see how we can leverage AI a bit more to quickly go through and see the process becomes more efficient. The first point that I want to raise is, do we really need coding interviews? For example, in the interview, the interviewer is asking, hey, I'm giving you 10 strings and you have to match it with the user input string. What is the code that you will write? Do you really need this kind of a code right now to be written? Microsoft Copilot, if you write the situation, it gives you 10 different types of codes that you can write, and it will prioritize in the right order for you. Now, in the age of AI, do you really need to test at this level? Is there a better way to test the candidate if they are a good fit for your company versus not? I believe probably testing out the candidate's algorithmic development abilities. Can they think through the process holistically? What's happening from the start to the end? This gives a lot more insight about how the candidate is a good fit for you, rather than asking them to write some code, which again, anyways, everybody is going and looking at Google or now Microsoft Copilot for support. And by the way, Microsoft Copilot is being pushed in every single company. It's now becoming mandatory to use this Microsoft Copilot. The second thing, as we discussed previously, is HR has to go through probably 300 resumes to fill in 10 to 12 positions, right? And there is multiple screenings that are happening. And the first round of screening is done by the HR team. And the second round of screening is done by, let's say, the tech team, even before somebody is invited for the interview. And can't we use AI for the first round of interviews? Absolutely possible, because instead of somebody's subjective knowledge determining if a candidate is a good fit or not, the AI, based on, let's say, some expert given answers, they can match the candidate's answer with the expert's answer from the company itself and see objectively is that candidate is good versus not. So the HR work is reduced, the candidate is also getting a fair evaluation, and instead of 300, probably they can even filter and go through 500 plus resumes. Much more transparent way. This inclusion of AI I hope is done much sooner rather than later, because there are a lot of people that are going through one or the other interview every single day. So the sooner the processes are implemented, the better it is for everybody out there. Do share this video in your network and let's see if at least one decision maker who is indecisive with respect to using AI versus not can take that final call after hearing our viewpoints. We never know. The other element is from the candidate side. Can the candidate actively leverage AI to see what they can improve on their resume? Absolutely. If you go into ChatGPT and you share the job description and you also share your resume and ask for what are the gaps, what are the keywords that are missing. And there are not just ChatGPT, but there are a lot of other tools as well which are doing the exact same things that we are talking about. If you are using them, well and good. If not, you should start using them. Even if you are not in the job market, you should do these comparisons all the time. You will know what is the skill set that is missing. You can go ahead and focus on building those skill sets. Please don't think that it will only elevate your resume when in need. And the third and the final thing that I want to touch about is interviews should never be considered as an elimination process. That is, hey, we should not be looking at what are the mistakes that somebody is doing. For example, somebody is not even writing about cloud on their resume and you ask them cloud and make them feel bad. Not at all necessary. These are irrelevant questions. The better way to do is understand that interviews are a selection process. You want the best candidate. So you want the candidate to perform to the best of their abilities. Can the HR, after they are freed up with their time because of the usage of AI, can they help the candidate prepare better? Can the interviewer, instead of asking the irrelevant questions which are not even written in the resume, can they ask much more situational questions and support the candidates with small nudges? This will help the company and also the candidate, because the company is picking from the best of the lot, not by eliminating the people who are not relevant for that job position and picking whoever is left. This is a subtle mindset shift from the company side, but my request to the individuals who are attending these interviews is, most of the times these decisions are based exactly on the skill sets that you have, not necessarily your abilities. So you should never ever consider that, hey, I'm not a good individual, I don't have enough talent, but rather objectively look at it and see what are the things that you can learn and bump up your resume and get that next job. Good luck guys. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.